Another DNC dig at President Trump, this time military veteran and Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, critical of the current administration's foreign policy.
They have a coward in chief. Joe Biden would never let tyrants manipulate him like a puppet. He would never turn his back on our troops or threaten them against Americans peacefully exercising their constitutional rights.
So is that a fair assessment of the president's foreign policy? We are asking international relations and national security expert Dr. Rebecca Grant. Dr. Grant, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's take a look at Trump's foreign policy record. 1. Facing down China in the South China Sea, arms control talks with Russia, eliminating ISIS in Iraq, Taliban peace deal negotiations, Middle East peace deal with Israel and the United Arab Emirates, U.S. withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal, and eliminating terrorist and Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. So with that as a backdrop, Dr. Grant, is Duckworth's criticism justified?
I respect Senator Duckworth and her service, but she's way off the mark this time. Her criticism is not justified. I think President Trump, particularly with China and with Iran, has staked out some very strong positions with China. He started a reset that really needed to be done. And with Iran, we've seen the events of the last couple of days prove that he is right to push for a better deal, and particularly for controls on ballistic missiles in Iran.
Dr. Grant, we don't necessarily have to guess what our foreign policy would be like under Joe Biden, because we did get a glimpse of that as he was vice president for 8 years under Barack Obama. So for those who are watching right now, how do you feel 4 more years of that would be if he were to get elected?
I think going back to the Obama-Biden policies is opening up just a Pandora's box of problems, but without the hope. You know, the Obama-Biden administration has left us in a really bad position in the Pacific, unprepared, and of course in the Middle East. President Trump has done quite a bit to turn that around. I'm also really concerned, Jillian, that Biden would cut defense spending right at a time when we see Russia and China trying to be more aggressive. And we also see Russia and China really fighting us in a new battleground, and that is the United Nations itself. I don't see a Biden Susan Rice team strong enough to take on both the military problems and the very intricate diplomatic and trade problems that China, Russia, and others are sending us every day.
Yeah, you mentioned Iran, you mentioned China, Russia, the UN. They all come to a head with this next topic. You mentioned this briefly before, Iran unveiling new missiles as tensions intensify over President Trump's snapback order on economic sanctions. By way of an explainer, let's briefly tell the audience what a snapback is. It allows an individual participant of a deal to restore all UN sanctions on Tehran should it be deemed to be in violation of the deal. Obviously, this deal is the Iran deal that the United States came out of under the Trump administration. Did Mike Pompeo have any other choice other than to snap back like we did?
Secretary Pompeo had no choice, and the reason, Todd, is because an important embargo on selling conventional arms to Iran is about to expire. All that Pompeo wanted the UN to do was agree not to sell things like Russian air defenses and Chinese ships to Iran, and the Security Council wouldn't do it. I was appalled and so saddened. We can see from Iran's actions that you've got to keep that conventional embargo in place. The solution, very complex, was to add the snapback mechanism.
Right.
It's justified because Iran has been producing too much nuclear material for over a year now.
Okay. Dr. Rebecca Grant, as always, we really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.